Voters do not agree with these despicable women on The View. They are wildly out of touch with the vast majority of Americans, and frankly, they should seek immediate help.
This is why, of course, she's on The View and not working for the most powerful man in the world, because Karoline would wipe the floor with you bitter banshees any day.
Joe Biden knows how to do this. Yes, he knows how to do this. He's quite good at this. And you know, you can't refute anything with him because he just, when I say him, I mean
rambles.
Trump.
Yeah.
He tends to just.
But can I mention one thing?
A few days ago, we showed you the heated moment between Whoopi Goldberg and Karoline Leavitt, the new White House press secretary. Because of limited time, we couldn't capture every detail or the full emotional charge of that exchange. Now get ready to see it in a way that truly sticks. And if you want more standout moments like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button.
I too am a working mom and always have been. I've been a professional woman since I graduated from college or law school. But now there's, I think, a good thing, which is like the restoration of valuing so-called traditional, moms, and that's great. Women who take care of their kids full time. Most of my best friends are doing exactly that. But it seems like in the right, there's like a bit of a shift toward like, you can't do what Karoline's doing. That's actually like an unsafe or a dangerous or a bad choice for families, for children, which I reject wholesale, but you hear it more and more.
Yeah.
Do you hear that? What do you think?
The reaction was instant. Online activists erupted and went straight after Karoline, aiming their criticism at her role as a mother. Ironically, this was directed at Whoopi Goldberg, often praised as a leading voice in that space. The message was clear. Challenge her publicly, and a wave of online attacks follows. With this crowd, nothing seems off limits. Your character, your arguments, and even your family are all fair game. What's striking is what they didn't do. They didn't challenge Karoline's facts. They didn't seriously question her professionalism. Instead, the response turned personal, exposing a sharp contradiction coming from people who often claim to support women's choices and strength. The lack of self-awareness was hard to miss.
I would reject that it's a bad choice. Is it a tough choice? Absolutely. You know, as a mother, you want to be with your child 24/7. You have that maternal instinct.
20.
Yeah, not all the time. Well, right now, yes, because he's 7 months and just squishy and lovable, but I'm sure that will change. But you know, you do have that maternal instinct, but also recognizing, like, I'm doing this work for my son and for all children to make this country better, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And here's the bottom line. Karoline made solid points. There's no good reason to tear down a devoted mother for speaking clearly and confidently. Criticism should focus on ideas, not on family. And that's what made this moment resonate so strongly.
Also it's temporary, right? In 4 years, my son will be 4 years old and the president will no longer be at the White House, and then I'll move on and do something else. But, you know, this chaos of 24/7 work is a temporary matter. And that's what at least I tell myself to get through these very long and hard days. But I would reject that you can't be a good mom and be good at your job. I think you can do both. It's certainly not for everybody, and it takes a lot of work and will and faith and prayer, and it's hard, but it can be done. And, you know, I would reject that.
Karoline Leavitt calmly delivers what should be plain common sense. Brushing aside the outrage with ease, it's not flashy, but it's effective. She makes a simple point that many pretend not to understand. Having a career and raising a family don't cancel each other out. One doesn't erase the other. That's where she truly shifts the conversation. Leavitt openly acknowledges that not every woman wants or is able to balance work and parenting in the same way, and she doesn't apologize for saying it. In a culture that often pushes a rigid message of do everything or you've failed, she offers something more honest. She argues that women who choose to stay home and raise their children deserve respect, not judgment. Shaping the next generation, she reminds everyone, matters just as much as climbing a corporate ladder. And beyond the argument itself, Leavitt wins the moment. She exposes what she sees as pretend empowerment, where people claim to support women, yet shame them for personal choices like motherhood. That contradiction lands hard. Still, if anyone thought the backlash couldn't get stranger, it did.
I mean, I gotta ask you, because they said it, are you aware of any plots from Elon Musk to push President Trump down the stairs?
Absolutely not. Let me be unequivocally clear about that. And watching this clip, I couldn't help but think how ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years. They likened President Trump to Hitler. They have mocked him. They have shamed him. They have lied about him consistently on their show. And it was a joy to watch them on November the 6th when they realized that tens of millions of Americans do not listen to the lies that
The same voices that once waved signs about facts and science suddenly drift into far-fetched theories. What looks like reason quickly turns into wild speculation, as if logic has been traded for imagination. Some daytime TV hosts even seem to believe they're running serious investigations from their living rooms simply because Leavitt challenged their favorite talking points. Public figures connected to her work become targets, including well-known business leaders, all wrapped in dramatic claims that fall apart under basic scrutiny. At that point, the situation borders on parody. But Leavitt doesn't play along. With a few clear, direct statements, she shuts it down, cutting through the noise and exposing just how flimsy those claims really are. Whoopi never quits. Goldberg dug deep and found what little courage remained to strike at Karoline Leavitt again. But this time, she took the indirect route. Knowing full well the verbal maelstrom that awaited anyone foolish enough to confront Leavitt directly, Goldberg chose a safer, more passive-aggressive tactic. She turned her attention and, after muttering a name like a defeated cartoon villain committed the unthinkable on live television, she spat. At first, some might have called it dramatic flair, a bold, if misguided, attempt to provoke a reaction, but Leavitt met it with surgical precision and the force of a freight train. "This is what passes for debate now," she scoffed. "You resort to the playground when you can't win with facts. Imagine being so rattled by a name that you start spitting like a child refusing vegetables."
A lot of women are preparing themselves for the impact of the incoming administration, which has led to this growing mantra from male right-wing incels: your body, my choice. Say that to my...
Goldberg didn't stop there, and the awkwardness was palpable, likely contributing to the decline in daytime TV ratings. By the time Leavitt finished her response, Goldberg's stunt felt less defiant and more like sheer desperation. Memes and commentary exploded online faster than viewers could reach the commercial break. Many rallied behind the White House press secretary. "These women are going to have to hide at some point," one commentator warned. Others pointed out that Goldberg had essentially spat in the face of half the country's voters. Some reviewers even speculated she might be paid extra to act this way, while others argued it was all a calculated move to drive views. I get it. This is a bit off topic, but yes, Karoline Leavitt absolutely exposed her critics and the legacy media with striking precision. This section is pure gold. Think about it. These are the same people who've questioned her qualifications and humiliated her at every chance. For much of the so-called woke media, chasing her down has become a side hustle. An opinion piece criticizing her breathing could appear within the hour.
You must have really wrestled with how you were going to meet the high bar set by Corinne Jean-Pierre. Was that... Sorry, was that out loud? No, she was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how has your approach differed, would you say?
I think it's vastly different. And if you ask people, even in the legacy media, even the Trump haters, they will tell you the approach has been much different. Not just for me, but the entire White House. Oh, absolutely. They come in my office every day and they'll admit that off the record.
Oh.
Maybe not on the record, but they will say they appreciate the access and the transparency and the preparation that goes into my briefings and everybody on our team.
Yet behind the scenes, the story shifts. Once the cameras are off and the outrage hashtags fade, the very critics who publicly slammed her are reportedly sneaking into her office to thank her. You read that right? They're quietly expressing gratitude for access to the media that even the Biden press team couldn't provide. Publicly, they paint her as a right-wing villain, but privately they shake hands, grin, and whisper, "Thanks for actually doing your job." It's a level of hypocrisy that has become almost standard on the left. Leavitt is watching the entire media ecosystem perform the battle while quietly feeding itself under the table, and it's not just for show. Since the Goldberg exchange, the conversation has kept building. Progressive journalists are rushing in, eager to correct the record before Leavitt even has a moment. Are they worried about the very real problems she just exposed, the glaring fraud glaring like a neon sign? Not at all. Critical thinking appears off the table. Instead, they focus on trivialities, treating her like a hall monitor rather than addressing systemic issues. It's as if they all went to the same playbook. Step 1, ignore the debate. Step 2, flaunt your perceived power. Step 3, congratulate yourself for saving democracy. Leavitt, however, responds with calm precision, the kind that goes viral for being smart rather than aggressive. "Oh, I apologize," she said with a laugh. "I didn't realize satisfying your fact-checking fetish mattered more than exposing corruption." Naturally, the journalist reacted by doubling down.
To an IG report from the Social Security Administration, there was $71 billion worth of fraud in one single fiscal year that we know about. And so that is a lot of fraud, Peter.
To be clear, that $71 billion was from 2015 to 2022, so it wasn't in just one year. And it was
$71 billion.
But it wasn't in one year, just over multiple years, from 2015 to 2022.
So are you defending $71 billion in fraud, Peter? That's a lot of money. Why is the media so against cutting waste, fraud, and abuse from the government? I don't get it. We won't be deterred. We will not be deterred from people like you and the
Nitpicking every word while ignoring the giant glaring problem in plain sight. By the end, what started as a debate had become a full-on demolition, with Leavitt firmly in control and the reporter looking like anything but an impartial observer. Karoline Leavitt's power lies in her lightning-fast responses and knockout clapbacks. She doesn't rely on theatrics, she speaks from the heart. Her woke opponents, by contrast, need a focus group, a PR consultant, and a thesaurus just to craft the perfect, inclusive yet outraged soundbite. Leavitt doesn't rely on hypocrisy or mental gymnastics to avoid offending anyone. She delivers pure, unvarnished truth, which hits harder than any rehearsed talking point. She gives voice to what everyone is thinking. Even better, she backs it up with receipts, statistics, and a confidence that leaves critics frozen, blinking like deer in headlights. Leavitt is already 5 steps ahead of the woke brigade, dismantling their arguments before they even hit post, in a world where virtue signaling and manufactured outrage dominate social media. Meanwhile, they're still busy crafting the perfect insult thread on X, stuck in 2016. It's infuriating to watch figures like Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg trash a woman who's clearly intelligent, accomplished, and decisive. Her presence is magnetic. She was put there because she's capable and sharp. For those whose entire platform depends on smoke and mirrors, Leavitt's candor is both energizing and dangerous. The women on The View clearly envy her brilliance, poise, and rapid rise. Leavitt achieved more in a few years than many of them did in decades of shouting into the void. How do they cope with jealousy? Reason disappears. They'll attack her with absurd, trivial, or hypocritical claims because they can't counter her intelligence or record. They fall back on the classic woke playbook, character assassination. It's high school mean girls with bigger budgets and worse judgment.
How do you prepare? Because you can't know everything, and you could get asked anything. And unlike Karine Jean-Pierre, you're not out there reading and furiously flipping through your tabs to try to find an answer somebody else has written for you. So how are you preparing?
So I did prepare a binder for the first briefing. My great assistant, Keegan, put it together. And then I showed up to work and it was like this thick. And I was like, I can't even move this. I can't use this. It was too cumbersome for my brain and the way I learn and think and study to have that. It felt like added weight. And I said, I want to just go in there and speak from my mind and from my heart.
Like your boss.
Like my boss.
They ignore the obvious. Leavitt was already making waves before entering the White House press room. They feign outrage as if they'd ever call out a liberal mother balancing work and family. The truth is, this isn't about politics. Jealousy. Leavitt is winning the culture war simply by existing, and the louder they protest, the clearer it becomes. Her success and the reactions it sparks are proof enough. Karoline Leavitt isn't just smart, she's strategically brilliant. Her intelligence goes far beyond book smarts or savvy social media use. She brings real-world experience to the table. During her congressional campaign, she dominated the Republican primary, proving she's no token candidate chasing retweets. Matt Mowers, a former administration official, likened her opponents to a runaway freight train with no brakes, unstoppable until they collide. Who was expected to lead the race? No one was sure Leavitt could overcome Chris Pappas, the Democratic incumbent, but by forcing the establishment to sweat, she showed her campaign was more than a resume. It was proof she could operate under pressure. The loss she experienced wasn't a defeat, it was a masterclass in real-world politics. Meanwhile, woke commentators sipping lattes and preparing their next fact check.
Nice looking lady. But it isn't true that that's why she got the job. She got the job because she was the national spokesman for the campaign, and she did a very good job in that role. And the campaign was hugely successful and communicated very effectively. That is why she got the job. Even if Karoline Leavitt weren't a pretty lady, even if she were a male, gremlin, monstrous-looking fellow, she still would have gotten the job based on how effective the campaign communications was. Furthermore, Karoline Leavitt ran for Congress. I was talking to Roger Stone about this when we were trying to figure out who the picks for the administration were going to be. He said, I think Leavitt's going to get the White House press sec job. I think she earned the job, and I like that she has been in the fire. She's run for office.
Like to think they understand the game. When Leavitt takes the stage with concise, razor-sharp rebuttals, it's clear she's in a different league. This isn't just youthful confidence. It's the poise of someone who has fought in the trenches, overcome challenges, and emerged stronger. She embodies principles the left claims to champion, which is why they can't tolerate her. Secretly, they fear her. Joy Behar and her cohorts sense her competence, strength, and intelligence, and it stings. The jealousy is unmistakable. Leavitt was selected in part because Donald recognizes her as a top-tier talent, and this wasn't her first job. This was her first press conference in a high-stakes, feminist-charged environment. The women on The View aren't just annoyed, they're jealous. They sit on daytime TV spouting talking points while Leavitt works for one of the most powerful men in the world. They know they can't match her intelligence, political savvy, or composure. Every time she delivers truth with a killer grin, it highlights not just a difference in roles, but a difference in relevance. Leavitt drops receipts, Whoopi and her team throw tantrums, and she fuels controversy with precision. Watching her is like observing a professional sparring session while onlookers flail. The envy is tangible. Deep down, they know if they were ever in her position.
Oh wait, he's not on CNN anymore. That's right. He was like, it was just so, I would say, you don't mind the aggressive questions, you take the aggressive questions, but it was just always to the point that it was like, how do you destroy Donald Trump? How do you destroy the individuals and staff? It was so, when they do say Trump derangement syndrome, and I do think that there's also Elon Musk derangement syndrome happening too with the media, because they don't know how to handle it. How do you view that differently from the first administration till now?
Well, first of all, since you brought up Jim Acosta, he's been saying some not so nice things about me online, and I've resisted responding, but since you brought him up, I'd like to say,
let's go.
Jim, at least I have a job, Jim, okay?
They wouldn't last 5 minutes. The queen of comebacks, Whoopi Goldberg, wouldn't dare confront Karoline Leavitt face-to-face, and for good reason. It's not just about losing. It's about being publicly dismantled in front of millions. Noise alone doesn't win battles, even when Whoopi is loud. At this point, it's like watching a master chef teach someone how to boil water. In this episode, Goldberg is stuck playing checkers with half her pieces missing, while Leavitt is running a full chess game. Even in the comfort of The View's echo chamber, Goldberg knows deep down that in a real exchange, she'd be taken down before the first commercial break. Yet, with every barb thrown, Whoopi continues her own small revenge from afar. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our analysis and want more thought-provoking takes on the latest political news, be sure to click like and subscribe. We'll see you at the next one.